All right, we'd like to welcome everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning, depending on where you are all across the country. We want to welcome you to the National Blitz League's presentation of Unfinished Business. We have a wonderful match set up for you guys for tomorrow afternoon or tomorrow evening. National Master James Canty faces off against National Master Jan Mieller, and that's 8 p.m. Central Time, 9 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be a match for the ages. These two are going to slug it out. The way they've been talking before the match, both of them, they're going to bring their A game, and it's going to be a clash. We have two guests that are in our studio representing each player. We have Joseph Gadson, part of the Detroit Chess Killers. We know who he is and we know what he represents, and he's going to be representing National Master James Canty. And then we have a special guest. He hasn't been in our studio before, but we'd like to welcome Bryan Tillis, and he's going to be representing Jan Mieller. And we like to have both of you guys. We like to know, first of all, if you can just tell us a little bit about yourself. Let's get Bryan Tillis. You can introduce yourself. Joseph has been on our show before, but for our guests who may not know you, maybe you can give us a little background on yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm originally from Alabama and broke the drought there. I was one of the first national masters in over 20 years and came to South Florida. I have a passion for teaching chess and working with the kids, and it's been great watching them go from learning peace movement all the way to being national championship competitors. It's just what we do.
Nice. I hope you brought your A game, because when you go up and you face off against a debater like Joseph Gadson, you better have your stats, because this man does his homework. He brings facts, he brings records. So are you ready for this?
I believe I am.
All right, let's get into it. We'd like to know from you players. We want to get right into it. We have a great match tomorrow. Both of these guys bring totally different styles. James is a slugger. He doesn't care who you are. He's throwing haymakers. He doesn't play anything that's traditional. He's just throwing stuff. He's just swinging. He just wants to come in there, and it's just nasty. And if you've seen the way he looks, his body, his chest is just like his body, man. Nasty. So Bryan, are you confident that Jan can handle that tomorrow?
I'm pretty confident. I mean, I got statistics on my side so far where when I looked it up in League Chess, we only have 2 games. And I know it's not the best sample size, but 2 games, 2 wins for Jan so far.
Are you telling me that he's 2-0 versus the National Master James Canty?
2-0.
Joe, I didn't know anybody had a score like that against Canty.
Yeah. You know what? This is actually news to me. He's correct. I looked it up myself. He's 0-2 against him. But
that's not starting off good. What do you think?
Not to make excuses, but I mean those are just 2 blitz games. I mean 2 bullet games. So it's not a large enough sample size to really compare the 2 yet. So I'm not too worried about that. I'm still rolling with Canty.
Did you look at the games? Was it close? Was the content of the games? Was he getting demolished? What happened in the games? I'm interested.
I can't say that I would speak very strongly about the quality of play in those games.
Okay.
But I will speak strongly about the results.
All right. So what we want to know is, guys, first of all, what's your connection to Jan? And Joe, what's your connection to James? And if you guys can give us a little history and why you're so attached to these players.
Well, I've known Jan since my involvement with the Pro Chess League, and he played for the Miami Champions, and he was rounding out our squad. And Jan's a stand-up guy, and he's definitely a hard worker at the board. He's someone I have a lot of respect for, and I feel like watching some of his streams, he's one of those people that has the stamina. He'll be there. He's done a 24-hour stream before, and I just find those people crazy.
That's impressive.
So, yeah, I have respect for that.
That's impressive. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. And what about you, Joe?
Well, being from Detroit, me and James are both from Detroit. I pretty much watched James grow up. Like I remember when he was first unrated playing tournaments as a child. Because I was a TD. When I was in high school, I TD'd the elementary and the middle school leagues. And James was a member of Bates Academy at the time. So I've literally watched this young guy grow up. So it's been 20 years, and he's just been getting better and better every year, it seems.
Wow, that's amazing. Can you give us any stories? We'd like to hear some of the things that some of the fans don't know. Are there any matches or anything that you can remember that said, man, I'm going to attach myself to this guy?
What did it for me was when he came in second place at the Millionaire and took down the $20,000. That's what did it for me. But
Yeah.
even back here in Detroit, I mean, it's plenty of stories. He pretty much dominated after James. I believe he hit 2000 in 8th grade. I think he was 2000 in 8th grade because he went into Cass Tech as 2000, and he just dominated the entire league for like 6 years.
Wow.
Like he was the first time. This was the first time Detroit sent a master to nationals. He was a master in high school. So he was competing at the National High School Championship as a master. That was our first time we had a master do that.
Yeah, I remember that. I was at the Millionaire with James, and man, he had a nice performance. So what about you, Bryan? Anything that you can give us some insight in on Jan?
For
Someone's
me,
frozen.
and I had to do a good bit of recruiting for the Miami Champions. I saw Jan play in person numerous times, and the intensity with the body language, it's not many players that have it, and that have that it factor. That, like people say when they play against Kasparov and Karpov, you got that, they have an aura on them when they're focused and when they're playing. I saw it with Jan, and that's why I had him on my team.
Oh my, Joe, are you worried for Canty? He's saying
No.
basically he's going to be going up against Jesus Christ.
No, I'm not worried at all. If you look at Canty last 2 tournament performances, finished with 5.5 at the Chicago Open. 2 months later, finished with 5.5 at the World Open. He's chasing norms right now. He played in the Pro Chess League. He did a pretty good job there. He kills these arenas every week. He's just on fire. His work habit right now, I've never seen a guy study as much as James does. That's all he does is study. So I'm not worried about anybody facing James.
Wow, that's a good point, Bryan. He's basically saying that James came from Detroit and is in your league and demolishing your league. I mean, what do you have to say?
Well, all I can say is that Jan's working. We were talking about this, and he's specifically preparing right now, and he's on a mission. And I'm always leaning towards the man on a mission.
I like that. So I'd like to hear specifically. I want specifics, guys, on why you feel your man is going to win the match tonight.
All right, I'll go ahead and jump right in on that one.
Go ahead.
So I'm definitely an openings guy. I may not be active as much anymore as I used to be, but I've authored a few opening books on Chessable. And to me, looking at just their style of play, I like Jan quite a bit. I mean, all due respect, but when you're playing E4 and then you're playing exchange variations and Alpins versus Sicilians, and Jan's ready to go in and play a perk almost every time and get messy, I got to go with the guy who's willing to get messy.
I like that. I'm going to be looking at those games because I'm a perk player myself. Nice. Okay. And Joe, specifically, what are you looking at?
Well, Canty's going to destroy the perk.
Whoa. Wait a minute. What did you just say? Repeat that, please.
Canty's going to destroy the perk. That's one of the first openers Canty was actually playing as a younger. Canty knows the perk inside and out. And he's aggressive. Like, you have to attack the perk.
Mm.
And you got one of the most aggressive national masters that I've seen since probably forever. Like, he's gonna crush the perk. Then not to mention, Canty just has the experience in this. Like, he's used to the bright lights. He streams all the time. He's played in these matches before. I'm not sure if Jan can handle that type of pressure.
Oh my gosh. Bryan, you may have to tell Jan to change up his opening. This may be some good inside information. I'm a little worried the way Joseph just came out there and just blasted the perk. I'm afraid to play myself now. Are you rattled? Are you rattled?
I mean, I'm not shaking. I'll put it that way.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure. You better tell Jan to be careful because Joseph knows this guy. He said he's known him for over 20 years, and he's been spanking that opening for about 20 years. Now, you mentioned something that's very important, Joe, and that's that he's used to the big lights. I don't know if Jan has ever been in an environment like this before. You know, when you're in Detroit, you're under pressure all the time. And Joseph has grown up under pressure. I don't know. It sounds like Jan is used to the cushy and the comfortable.
Well, I think I could step in and take that one a little bit. But in the Pro League, and this is speaking from personal experience, I played against the St. Louis squad, which ended up being league champions, and I faced Caruana and So in back-to-back games.
Oh,
and
wow.
you get a little little thump when you're playing against the big dogs like that. And Jan had the same opportunity to play players in the top 50 in the world, and I never saw him back down. And that's one of those keys to playing those monsters. Is believing that everybody's human and they can be taken down. And I got to go with that idea that, it's not so cushy. We've been in the lights too.
I like that. So basically what he's saying is James might look hard on the outside, but he's nice, soft, and buttery on the inside. So he's just going to get to James' inside. That's pretty good. Bryan, are you going to use your opening knowledge to help Jan prep and get ready for the match?
Well, I can't say that I'm not. But I think I've already given enough information about opening so far.
All right, good to know. So this is what I'd like to know from you guys before we close. We need predictions. What do you all feel is going to be the score? Is it going to be close? Is it going to be a landslide? James Canty gave me a prediction. Hold on, let me see if I can get the studio to get the exact prediction that James Canty had. James Canty said that the score would be 19-2 in a 21-game match. 19-2. You look like Michael Jordan in The Last Dance when he saw the glove. I mean, that's basically what James is saying. This guy's not a problem. 19-2, and I'm guessing he says Jan is gonna, maybe get a victory in each one of the sessions. One blitz game, one bullet game.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I can't even ride with James on that one. Because at the end of the day, they're both still national masters.
That's right. So being realistic, what do you think is the score? We're gonna write these down. We're gonna take notes.
I have it at 13-8 James.
13-8. All right, reasonable.
So looking at the stats, seeing how they measure up in lead chess, because both of them played a few thousand games, and it's a good statistical measure. I'm gonna go with 60-40 Jan.
Wow, 60-40. So can you give us a number? What is that number? Is that 60-40? You're saying
it's about the same, 13-8.
13-8, basically.
Very close.
So you all both believe your guys are going to win by a nice little margin, a couple of games per session, which is going to be interesting. I haven't really seen much of Jan, but I am very much looking forward to this match tomorrow. We have great guests. I must say, you guys were stand-up gentlemen. You all represented your players well, and we really appreciated it. Now, before the broadcast began, we just got to know a little bit about you. Bryan, you said you have written a couple of books. Would you like to tell us what a couple of those books were before we close out?
Yeah, absolutely. My first book on chessboard was Master of the French Defense with Grandmaster Linderman.
Nice.
And that's been a great book on chessboard. I want to say we've had about 1,500 sales with a 4.8 out of 5 review. Wow. And after that, I wrote The Dark Knight Rises, the Alekhine Defense. And that was with Grandmaster Roman Djindjiashvili. And, former U.S. champion and all-around amazing person and boss. And then lastly, I recently completed a book, Opening Oddities, where I went through everything that is not E4, D4, and Knight F3, and basically started cracking things like the Grob, the Polish, the stuff that you see in the dirty 1-minute games that if you're not prepared for, you can definitely get spanked. So.
Nice.
Right.
All right, we may have to check some of that out. That's really nice. So guys, one last question before we finish off. If the score comes down to 10-10 and they only have one game left to play, it's the last bullet match. Who wins that?
Jan.
James, easily.
Thanks, guys. We appreciate it. And we were glad to have both of you.
All right.